Jeff, Zach, thanks for joining me.
Hey
Hey,
again,
Steve. Thanks
Steve.
for having us.
Good to have you. We are talking about Washington, D.C. and its office market and having some struggles. Apparently, all those federal employees don't want to be working in the office. And that's having a pretty negative effect on the downtown, particularly office, but other businesses, including restaurants and whatnot, related to that. The federal government is likely to shed even more space in the years to come, and that's partly because of the growing number of employees working remotely. Six agencies, including Justice and Treasury Department, have lease expirations between 24 and 27, where they're expected to give up close to 600,000 square feet. So apparently, the federal government's not a minor tenant. Um, but some of your thoughts as we're seeing the downtown Washington, D.C. offices struggling with a record high vacancy of almost a quarter at about 22.4% in the second quarter.
Well, you're stepping into my backyard where I grew up. It's interesting that it's kind of taken this long for the media to pick up on this. I'll start there. Office and the downtown market in general has struggled for a long time. It's not just a recent thing. I mean, some of the most prominent corridors in DC, which would be K Street, H Street, Farragut Square, stuff like that. They've seen a lot of those offices and jobs disappear and stay gone and struggle with vacancy for a while, even in the best product with the most amenities. Um, and government is a large tenant, 600,000 square feet being lost. They're not going to bring that back. I mean, FBI did this. It was a case study 10 years ago. And the case study was like 1 million or 1.5 million square feet for FBI. They moved it out of the city and never came back. Um, I have a buddy that works at Treasury, and he never goes into the office at downtown. They don't need the space. So I think you're going to see a lot of struggles. And I don't know how you turn that office around. The conversions and everything else would be great, but there's not as much migration for housing into the city where you're going to be able to kind of convert office into something else and then lease it back up. So I think DC is going to have a bit of a period of struggle and has to go through a renaissance to try and figure out what it wants to become.
Maybe it becomes something a little bit different. Maybe it becomes more parking. You could always convert stuff like that to large scale parking in a place that has almost no parking. So, I mean, I don't have much to say on it because I don't really know what Zach does, but it's understandable from the points he made.
Yeah, I would
Restaurants,
say.
I was going to say restaurants kind of moved out. A lot of stuff that people will go downtown for is not there. I mean, you still have stuff like the Kennedy Center and the best restaurants in the city are still, downtown, etc. But it's dwindling for sure.
Yeah, and I would say, we're not cheerleaders, we're investors. So we have no problem looking at a market and kind of saying pass. And I
Hmm.
think Washington, D.C. might be a hard pass. And for me, partly it also goes to um, it's one of those urban cores that is pursuing policies that don't, encourage a happy lifestyle. And
Well,
it's not
it's
business friendly.
that's yes and no, because DC itself can be, but one of the things that most people don't know about DC is that it's not a state, right? So through its pseudo state status, they have the DC Council and everything else they vote on and kind of self-govern, but then everything has to go through Congress and get approved. And it is actually Congress that is running DC. And they're busy running the rest of the country, so they don't really have a lot of time to focus on DC, and those policies take a long time to change, blah, blah, blah. So it's not the best environment to be in, especially if you want to move quickly or change things. You got to get 435 people that know nothing about DC to tell DC how it's going to be. So it ends up being messy for sure.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that DC is not right now on the top of our list of markets that we are looking at to invest in, but who knows? Sometimes you get some great bargain opportunities. Um, but hey, appreciate the insights, guys. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. You can comment too. Let us know what you think. Click subscribe if you haven't, and go to our website, selectfincap.com, and register to get a look at exclusive investment opportunities, maybe in DC, but probably in other markets right now. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
See you,
guys.
Steve.